Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Four Lads of the Dream podcast. My name is Stevie Clifford, and I am here with Kenny Stewart and Andrew Anderson. Gentlemen, good evening. How has your days been? Has it been good? Are you excited, Kenny?
Yeah, I've got my day off today, mate, and we've got plenty to talk about, haven't we? So,
Andrew, how have you been? You've not been well of late recently, but it's nice to have you on and get a different perspective. Well, it may be the very same perspective, but it's nice to have you on nevertheless.
Well, Stevie, I've been slowly recovering, getting better out of hospital, and now I think Rangers are going to put me back in there. But I'm sure we'll come on to discuss that.
Thank you, everybody that's joined us and everybody that's viewing. I've had an extremely busy day. I was telling Kenny that I cleared my kids' rooms today, so I was at the tip 4 times, and I was at the charity shops giving in toys and clothes and all that kind of stuff. I'd let it run now for years and years and years, so that was my day today, and I kept off social media. Had a lovely day, had music on, really relaxing, and then tonight the official word from Rangers up until about 5:30, 6 o'clock was that discussions were ongoing. And then news started to break. I first asked Rangers about Russell Martin yesterday morning and it was denied. Much like Chris's article, Ancelotti's agent have been saying right up until this evening that we're still meeting Rangers and we've still got things ongoing. I'm not sure how truthful they've been throughout this all, but the stuff that Rangers Review have put out from Chris Jack has been spot on. That's the information given to us at the time. So up until maybe about 90 minutes ago, we had it confirmed that it was Russell Martin, and now everywhere's going with it. You see, even Sky Sports have gone with it. It is the appointment that we all wondered about, Kenny, Andrew. I will not lie, I have been worried about this appointment for a long time. I've been worried about they're going to go down this route, but that means absolutely nothing. If he's here, I will back him 100%. As I've always said, I have my reservations about it. I have my worries, which we will discuss, no doubt. I think maybe everyone's the same. But if Russell Martin is announced tomorrow as the new Rangers manager, or Friday, or when he's announced, then I'll get behind him 100%, because it's recruitment that's going to be absolutely key to this. And it's going to be interesting. It's a really ballsy move by the board, especially a new one coming in, and by Kevin Thelwell, who they know the extent of feeling towards this. So for Russell Martin also to have the inner belief in himself and basically not listen to anything, I think is quite ballsy. So there's a couple of things in there, but this is happening, and Russell Martin's going to be the new Rangers manager, Kenny.
welcome back to Rangers, Russell Martin. There's a sentence I thought I'd never say again. But I don't even know what to say, Stevie. You said you were worried. I'm a little bit apprehensive about it. I'm not going to lie. However, that is where we're at now, and you're absolutely spot on. What we need to do now, as a football club and as a fan base, is do whatever we can to make sure this works. Because whether the majority want this, this guy as a manager or not, the simple fact is that he's going to be our new first team head coach, and we need to find the players, because this squad is not made for a Russell Martin team. So we are going to have to, as a football club, provide him with the tools to do the job to the best of his ability. How you go about doing that is exactly as you say. That's now up to Thelwell and Purdy to find the players that he wants, and he feels that he can get the best, or Rangers playing the best football he can. But the simple fact is that it's a results-based business, mate, and he's going to have to get results. That's the bottom line. So if he gets results, we're all going to be happy. It's as simple as that. Nobody's going to give two hoots about how we're feeling today about it if he gets results. But it's a big ask, because there is a major and massive turnaround about to happen in terms of recruitment, in terms of players in and out. And well, I hope it works for him. That's what I would say.
Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I was being flippant when we started, but ultimately, as Kenny says, this is all about results. If he comes in and starts winning things, then fantastic. And I think everyone will get on board. Most people will get on board. I think the problem is that we can see from his previous CV, the experience that he's had as a manager already, that we don't think that that's likely to be the case. But listen, these are other teams that he's been at. These are other players that he's had. If we come in and we have got a better squad than we do now, because I think regardless of who the manager was going to be, we all agree that this squad needs improved and we need to have better players in there. If that changes, then you just don't know. So I'm not prejudging it yet. I will say that this is maybe the less exciting of the options. Ancelotti was going to be an unknown, but because of that, you can project things onto him. Russell Martin's more of a known quantity just because we've seen him manage elsewhere. So on the face of it, it's not a lot to get excited about now. But Kenny's right. It's a result-driven business. If he comes in and starts getting results, then excitement will quickly grow.
So what can we expect from Russell Martin then? Let's look at it, bring up his stats. What he can, a lot of people have talked about the type of football he plays. If you'd listened to the Southampton's fans podcast on Rangers Review with Eric Clark, it was quite scathing. But it would be, because it's not. Southampton won one game out of 16. So it's always going to be scathing. His tenure, he's managed 252 games, wins 101, draws 56, losses 95. Win percentage is 40.08%. That includes tenures at MK Don, Swansea City, and Southampton. So I'm not really sure what else we can really add for that. Kenny and I spoke about this last night. I think he scored 366 goals and conceded 360 odd as well. So it's like for like. He plays possession-based football. He is known to encourages teams to play with looking for the spare man, get it forward quickly. Well, that's how he likes to play. Southampton fans have said that he's not very good tactically in setting up a defence, poor from set pieces conceded, but at Southampton's point of qualification for the Premier League up via playoffs, I think they scored from 14 set pieces as well, so it was one of the highest in the league at the time, if I'm right in thinking that. So it's a mixed bag. We know what we're going to get. The biggest fear we have, or the biggest fear I have, I can't speak for everybody, but the biggest fear I have is that we've seen the possession-based football not work before. And, you know, I made the point last night and people were on at me saying it's not about possession, it's about how you use it. And they're absolutely right. But my biggest thing is that we've seen possession-based football not work here. When you look even at your likes of the Warburtons, who was up against it in the Premier League. So I'm reluctant to go in too hard on Mark Warburton. When you look at Clement, when you look at Van Bronckhorst, when you look at Beale, it's all the same style of football. Steven Gerrard, the first couple of years, he even said he had to adapt and change his style in the third season for it to become successful. So Russell Martin has a style, and we asked for that. So we're going to get a style whether we like it or not. He's known to change formation. That's not the issue, but his philosophy will always stay the same. Possession-based, attacking football is what he likes to play, or what he tries to play, Kenny. Andrew as well. We're going to find out if that's successful up here or not. We're all, I think, worried about it, but you know, we're just going to have to wait and see now.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to have, you know, the thing that we've got the ability to influence this. This board have just spent close to 100 million quid. They're not going to be swayed by our opinion or the fans' opinion, which is probably a good thing on the face of it, because you don't want necessarily that reactive thing. The proof is absolutely going to be in what he can deliver with, though. If he can deliver, if he can get results, then great. It looks like a masterstroke. If, as we fear, he doesn't come in and hit the ground running and deliver, then harsh questions are going to be asked quite quickly. And I don't know how much of this is down to his philosophy as a manager or his personal beliefs and philosophies. Like, I'm kind of agnostic when it comes to that. I don't really care what his own personal views are. He's obviously a good talker because of his missus, but I don't see any reason to get annoyed at him off the back of that. It's all going to be about the performances and the results. The performances, actually, you care quite little about as well. The issue that we've had is we have seen, even in our very recent history, and not even just at us, that possession-based stuff doesn't really work in Scottish football. We saw the Scottish Cup go to a team that had 15% possession just a few weeks ago. So we know that just focusing on possession beyond anything else is not a smart philosophy for Scottish football. You don't need to have high possession to win games here. So it is going to be about hitting the ground running and getting results early doors. And the problem is that you've got to do a number of difficult things. Bed in a good new squad, and you're going straight into Champions League qualifiers as well. So no easy games. It's really going to depend on those initial games.
That's all right, Andrew. That's all completely correct. But if we're being fair to Russell Martin, it was the exact same for anyone coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
He has experience as a head coach at various teams. He has experience at Rangers. I'm trying to be fair, right?
Yeah.
And look at it contextually as much as possible. He has experience at Rangers. He knows the demands. He's been on the pitch at Parkhead when we've taken an absolute hiding. He knows the reaction of the fans and everything else. He knows the demands here. So that's not a surprise to him. He's not coming in shocked to find out on day one if we go to Hearts or wherever we go away game first of all and don't win that game, to find out that will be people on his back already. None of that should be a surprise to Russell Martin. It certainly won't be. So I think at least, Kenny, he has the experience of that coming in. Look, Davide Ancelotti was always going to be a wild card. He got me excited because of the Real Madrid stuff, because of his dad, because of that influence, but he didn't have that. We spoke about it quite a lot in the context of him, that he didn't have the experience. Russell Martin at least has the experience. And if anything, the days at Southampton in the Premier League should have at least taught him things, you would hope.
Well, I've seen a boy there comment and say that if you watch the Gary Lineker podcast, he talks very well, and yeah, he does. He genuinely does talk especially well about football. He's really easy to listen to. He's good to listen to, and football's a simple game, and possession is all these things. And I understand that the philosophy of playing one way or another. Football's about goals and how many goals you score. It's about scoring more goals than your opponent, and that's where he is going to have to find a way of doing that in a league that is perfect, and the majority of teams in it are perfectly happy to basically give you the ball and say, right, well, you go and break us down because we're going to hit you on that transition or on the break. That's effectively what a lot of the teams in this country do. So I'm like everybody, you know, that you as well, Stevie, I'm going to try and be slightly positive and say some things that I have noticed about him, that he's got a real track record of improving young players. He's got a real track record of selling people on for a lot of money. Or the clubs that he's been involved with have done that. Now, the basic kind of premise for him, I'm looking at the way I'm trying to take an overall view of this at this minute in time. This is not a short term fix. This is a long term strategy now. There's just no question of it. They are going to be quite prepared if these new owners and this new board are quite prepared to take the flack that's about to come their way for appointing this guy, then they're thinking middle to long term. They're not thinking short term at all. So they will be fully aware that this squad needs ripped up and rebuilt. They're going to be prepared to give him the facility to do that. They're going to give him the patience to turn around and work and progress this new squad that he's going to work with. And it will effectively come down to this squad and what we do with it. And it will come down to what the board give Russell Martin to do the job that he and this board have now ultimately felt that he's capable of doing. But for me, you're looking instantly at a minimum 2 years before you would even, this board are going to even start to judge him, Stevie. That's kind of where I'm looking at, because you can't possibly ask a guy with this kind of philosophy to build a new team and then bag him after 4, 6 months, 8 months. You're just not going to do it. And that's where I kind of look at it and feel, well, okay. But if this goes, south, the noise is going to be phenomenal. I mean, it's just going to be ridiculous. So they're going to have to be prepared for that, because we've seen it yesterday, we've seen it today, they're going to see it again tomorrow. The Rangers fans are noisy when they're not happy. So we'll see.
Greg Cole, Greg, mate, how are you? Asks about Maurice Ross. A couple of people saying Maurice Ross will be coming in as his assistant. He won't be. Matty Gill is coming with him as his assistant. That's now been reported. He's also taken his fitness coach with him. Maurice Ross will be in discussion about a role for a coaching job, but nothing's confirmed there at all. Yeah, I do know Maurice. I think he's a great guy. As a coach, I think he knows exactly what it means to be at Rangers, and he knows what's required. He's a treble winner at Rangers, really successful player in terms of what he won in the teams he was part of. I really like him as a player. I thought he was excellent. And I thought that he was one of the guys that always gave you 7 out of 10 no matter what. And it's guys like that we missed. As a coach, I can't comment what he'll bring. I know how passionate he is. I know how much he loves Rangers. I know that tactically he's got a lot of ideas and he speaks really well. I've interviewed him before, and he has a lot of ideas. I think he's got a lot of information on where he feels that this team is short that might be able to help Russell Martin in terms of coming into a new job. Maurice is ready to go with all that. So what could he bring? That experience, I think, in terms of knowing what the football club is like. He would be an asset in being there every week and being able to do that. So in answer to your question, Greg, I mean, I think that's what I can't comment on what he's like as a coach because I don't know. He's had issues at some club. I don't think that's worth hiding. But Maurice is a really passionate guy. He's a massive Rangers fan. Really passionate, really excited guy in terms of what he believes that Rangers should be and everything else. If he comes in, I would be pretty sure that he would be working with the defenders and organising them and doing that kind of side of it. It's already been said that Russell Martin can't organise a defence, so it wouldn't surprise me if he brought in somebody like that, somebody that he feels. But he wouldn't be the assistant manager. Matty Gill, by all intents and purposes, according to reports, is going to be with him and his fitness coach, and then we'll just need to wait and see. Greg did say to me the other night, if you remember the pod the other night, that it was lined up that Asmir Begovic would be coming in as goalkeeping coach, or is rumoured to be coming in as goalkeeping coach. We don't know how true that is, but it's interesting that Russell Martin is only bringing, or it's reported only bringing in a couple of people. So that might mean that perhaps there's some legs to that. So we'll just need to wait and see in terms of what else happens surrounding his, surrounding the potential backroom staff. Andrew, all this isn't going to matter if come Champions League qualifiers and first game of the season, if we go in to that with the same squad that we ended the season with. This squad needs urgent work. And the biggest question, I suppose, is, and I'm going to pose to you, when we go to recruitment, Russell Martin's done, barring a last-minute disaster from a Rangers point of view and a him point of view, he's going to be the next manager. It will be announced whenever, the next couple of days, tomorrow, Friday, whenever it is they put it out and announce it. So we can park that as such and concentrate on what's right in front of us, and that is recruitment. This football team is not ready. It's massively under-equipped. There's going to be big tests for Russell Martin straight away because the captaincy, James Tavernier, is going to be asked straight away. And if he says he's sticking with him, it'll just be another negative from a section of support thrown at him. So he has that to contend with. He has a goalkeeper there that he might know Jack Butland very well. Does he stick with him? There's all sorts of questions. But we need to be ready. The players return in less than 3 weeks. How can we get ready quickly? And what's the major points of this team that he has to fix. Who can he work with? Who can he deal with in the short term to get this team ready for where they need to be at the start of the season?
You're at the point where you need a new spine on the team, as we've talked about when we've discussed players that we keep from this squad. I think me and Kenny have said the same thing, that we'd take offers for anyone at this point. So that gives you an indication of the level of regard that we hold the current squad in. The truth of the matter is you need to have a good core of players. You need 4, 5, 6 trusted first teamers who are going to make up the spine of your team, 2 centre-backs, strong midfielder, potentially a goalkeeper, and a striker as well. So it's really straightforward. You just need a whole new team, really, and then it'll be fine. But I think that is the scale of the job. And I don't think Russell Martin's come into this with his eyes closed. He'll be aware of where Rangers have been this season. He'll be aware of the scale of challenge here. So I don't think he's coming into this with, his eyes closed. He should be well aware. So on one level, I suppose you've got to, give him some props for backing himself. I think one of the things that I did see today for someone, playing devil's advocate for Russell Martin was that when he left that Southampton team, they didn't get any better. So it was down to the level of players that he was working with there that were putting in those performances. But as a manager, and as we've talked about, you're going to have to work with some of this squad. As much as it would be amazing for us to see 20 players going out the door and 20 players coming in, realistically, that's not going to happen. So some of this squad are going to be part of the team for the short-term future. So, as I said, I think if you are smart and you get a good handful of reliable first-team starting players and starting caliber players, then you give yourself a spine to work from. But if we don't have that, then you're going in with both arms tied behind your back.
Kenny, where's the key positions that he needs to fix straight away?
That defence for a start, the 2 centre halves, that needs sorted. And going by, again, just what I've read, what I've heard, what I've listened to, he plays an incredibly high press. So that concerns me about the striker, the strike force that we have, because we've seen it over and over again under Philip Clement and under Barry there, that they really weren't capable of playing a high press for any length of time at all. And so that's somewhere that he's going to need to look at. And Andrew's right. We discussed this. You've said it before already, that what we need is a brand new spine in that football team, Stevie. We do. We need a number 6. We need a proper, top, athletic number 6 to allow the likes of, if Nico Raskin stays and Mo Diamande, if he stays, to go and allow them to express themselves. I think we need absolutely a big athletic striker as our number 9 that is capable of clicking and starting that press, because we've seen over and over again that Cyril Dessers at times is just utterly incapable of doing that. So it is the spine, and this is what's kind of concerning me. That where are we going to get these players from? Is Russell Martin going to be highly involved in that? Because there was rumours that was, and I don't know if it's just a rumour, typical online rumour, that he was wanting highly involved in that, or is that literally going to come down to Thirlwell and Purdy to turn and say, no, there's your players, go and work with them, go and make them better as the first team head coach. So, because it would worry me when you look at Russell Martin's background, that he's going to buy from the Championship and League One and stuff like that, and I just don't think that's going to work, to be honest.
Well, I don't think we've got a great record. For me, there's so much work to be done. Instantly, we need a left back. I think that Ridvan's time at the club is over. I think he's been extremely poor at times in the run-in as well, more or less looking like he might want to move. He's never available consistently. So we need a right back, whether you agree that's starting. We certainly need somebody to help James Tavernier. We need a centre back urgently to partner John Souttar. That has to happen straight away, and it has to be a good one to be able to work. You possibly need two in your squad if you look at how the squad goes, potentially even three, depending on what you think. If Clinton Inciala goes out on loan, etc., you need a six. That's without doubt. And we need wingers. We need wingers without. I think that's an urgent thing. We need pace. We need strike. We need wingers in there, and that needs to happen quickly. And look, long term, would you maybe keep Jack Butland? Would you keep John Souttar? No, you wouldn't. But that needs to change. I think Cyril Dessers will stay because of his record the last couple of years. Unless there's big money bids, I think the manager might decide that he stays because he's always available. He's always fit. He always goes about his business. He'll miss chances, but if others in the team miss chances as well, then he might not miss as many chances, is my point. He's the only one there and the only one taking them. We need other players that are going to contribute. So if he stays, and I think he will unless big money comes in, you at least have some of the team that know what it's about. Are they good enough? I don't think they are, but if you put them with Raskin and Diamande, I'm talking about we're 6, 7, 8 weeks away from this starting. We cannot change 15, 16 players. I don't think it's possible. I'm talking about immediate people that want to come in or we need to get in. I think centre half, left back is priority. Both wingers is priority. A six is priority. And that's your kind of handful of players, I think, that urgently we need to get in. And you can mould the rest of them round them. And then long term, maybe later in the window, August, etc., then we can maybe look at doing more deals and seeing how that goes. But if you're talking about immediately, as in the next 6, 7, 8 weeks, to be ready for that qualifier, a centre-back is non-negotiable. A left-back for me, a six, two wingers, has to be two wingers. We never had a left-sided winger. Now we don't have a right-sided one. Do we go and get somebody else to help up front? Maybe, I don't know, but it's not a priority for me at this minute. If you've got Dessers, Danilo and Eagleman, you can get by without having to rush and worry about a 9. We have to get wingers. There's nobody. You have to get a centre-back. You could even go with Jeffy at left-back for the moment, but you need an experienced left-back in there for me as well. Jack Butland's another question. What will happen with Jack Butland? But Jack Butland, you can wait and see as well. If he starts, you have to hope that he starts the way he did when he first came in. Maybe revitalise somewhat, time on the bench, rest, maybe giving him that. I'm trying to just come up with anything I can at this moment. But if we're talking about priority for me, Andrew, it's those positions straight away. Not long term. Long term, you want massive changes. I think we all do. I think that's fair. But short term, immediate, if we're going to be ready for these qualifiers, or as ready as we can be, we need to start moving with these positions quickly.
Well, where are we at? 2 weeks until start of pre-season. So ideally, you'd have 1 or 2 in already by that point, just so you can start working on this. The manager's a philosophy-based manager, as we believe that he is, then he's going to need to start coaching that into a squad of players. So I think regardless of the positions, because Stevie, you've gone through and named pretty much an entire team. So it's every position that could do with reinforcements, quite frankly. I know there are critical positions, but frankly, there's good places up for grabs everywhere in this team. So I think you go and you build that spine quickly. You start getting that coached in, and then you hope that you've got enough there to start getting some progress through these early qualifiers, because the first couple of matches look relatively easy. I mean, relatively easily, it's European football. I don't think there's any such thing as a bye or anything like that. But you need to be putting yourself in as strong a position as possible early doors with these games. If we can get some wins, that gets people on side, and it goes from there. If he comes in and you have a situation where it doesn't look like he's being backed because we don't get enough players in, or we don't get players in at all, then that's the point where folk are going to get concerned. So you would hope that you've got discussions ongoing already about the types of players to come in, because Russell Martin's coming in as the head coach, but we've got a director of football now who you would hope is going to have a philosophy and what he's looking to achieve with this football club. So we need quick action, I think.
Well, we definitely do. But the thing is, looking back on it in January at Old Trafford, I've said this before, they were literally hiding in plain sight in front of us at Old Trafford. Dan Purdy was there, Kevin Thelwell was there, all next to Andrew Kavanagh, etc. So, they aren't going to be surprised. They have watched us for the last 5 months of the season. So none of what we need should be a big surprise to them, no matter, regardless of who the new head coach was going to be. I would have hoped they would have been far down the line with many signings. We've been linked with Mulligan, we've been linked with Burgess, who I think would be sensible squad players, but you're looking for the first team, the shiny first team players, as I would call them, the no-nonsense first team starters that we'll maybe go and spend a wee bit of money on and bring in that quality. Russell Martin likes his teams to play high and press high, Kenny. At this moment in time, we do not have a squad that's fit for his management.
No, we don't. And listen, to go back to the previous question, there might be a little bit of an issue with this in terms of the Champions League qualifiers, because this EGM, where they're going to are prepared to give £20 million, we don't know what the budget is, excluding that. So if we are expecting to get that entire spine built, I think we can disabuse ourselves of that quite quickly, because it's not going to happen. Because it just won't. And so what he's going to have to do, I see Blues saying that as well about Cyril Dessers. I totally agree with him. He's just not a Russell Martin type of player. And I do agree with you as well, Stevie. I don't see him going right away, because I think he'll use him because he is reliable and he is always fit. However, in reply to your question, what do we do, Stevie? Well, seriously, what do you think in terms of where are we in terms of using or utilising this squad? Do we get through the first qualifier with effectively 2 or 3 signings and start building over the course of the summer? I don't know. It's one of those kind of confused. I'm actually just a little bit kind of bamboozled and confused over the last 24 hours about everything. It's all happened so quickly. I've been a little bit deflated, and to be honest, I've just waffled it because I forgot what your question was.
Listen, I think the thing is now that Russell Martin's here, so it doesn't matter what any of us think. And let's be honest with you, I'll be honest with every single one of you. I was really keen on Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. Look how that worked out. I was really keen on Michael Beale. Look how that worked out. I decided to watch for Philip Clement and sit back and see how it was, and that didn't work either. I was a huge Steven Gerrard fan. I'm going to get behind whoever it is that gets the manager's job, whether or not it's my favoured choice or not. But we're just going to have to wait and see. He's going to implement a style. We asked for it. We asked for owners to be ballsy and make big decisions, and they're making them, whether we agree with it or not. And we don't, then the structure's getting fixed around him. Kevin Thelwell's there. Dan Purdy's now there. That's going to get fixed. New medical teams coming. They're doing improvements at the training ground. There's already big things being talked about there. So the key now is getting the players in. That'll excite people, whether or not people like Russell Martin or not. He's here now. And I know that, like everything else at Rangers and in the fan base, once it settles down, and it will, give it a week or so, everybody will be right behind them and will be ready to go. All it needs is a couple of good signings, and people will switch on and be ready for it just as much as they would be if it would have been Ancelotti or Farioli or whoever it was. And yeah, I think patience will be less. I think that's absolutely fine. And I think that's a fair thing to say. But I also think that, the Rangers support will rally round. Ibrox will be full in the first game and we'll all be behind them. And that's what always happens. We are vocal, we'll have our say. But this new takeover was what we wanted. We wanted a coach that had a style and everything else. And whether we think it'll work or not, or whether we've got concerns, we have to wait and see. He's a high press, attacking, possession-based manager. It didn't work at Southampton in the Premier League. He spent quite a lot of money there as well, I think. And I didn't have the best of times in the Championship with him. I talked about it the other night. He suffered heavy defeats to Leeds and things like that. I think Sunderland beat them 5-0. So there is a degree of hope from me that he's learned and he will be prepared to be more tactically flexible. But in terms of what I go on about as well, he's been here, he knows the demands, and he knows what's required. So it's done now, Andrew. It is a case of, we have to. It's not a case of talking him up or seen some comments like, people saying it's happy clapping and things like that. It's dealing with what's in front of us. All three of us have said he wasn't our choice, but he's here now. And, barring anything, going wrong, he's going to be announced in the next couple of days as new Rangers manager. And for that, we need to get on it. And this club needs to get moving quickly and get the right players in.
Yeah. We've spoken about it, over the past 6 months. But the problem with this team has not just been the manager, it's been the squad as well. There's a rot throughout the entire Rangers team. So replace the manager. We've done that. The key thing is now get in players, and a good number of players who are first team starters as quickly as possible. We need to be in a position where we can get this European football secured, so that we know that we've got that. That provides a bit of guaranteed income. It also gets the manager started off on the right foot. Should just be, again, as we've said, the first step. And you can like it or not, Russell Martin personally harmed me with some of his performances as a player for us. But he's the manager, so he's going to have my backing until he does something to not earn it. It's as simple as that. We've always, I think, tried to be fair and equitable to anyone within Rangers, from the manager to the boardroom to the players. We've always tried to be fair and not be reactionary most of the time. So that's all we're going to do. From my point of view, you've got to be willing to see how this goes. We've spoken in the past about how much we rate this board's qualifications. We think that they know what they're doing. So we do have to give some trust to them on this, given this is their first major decision, if you like, or at least the first one that they've done since they've been officially in the door. So we've got to see. It's not an easy job. I wouldn't want it because, I don't like being yelled at on the internet by people. So I wouldn't take it, but, I'm not being paid to either. So we're going to give him the best shot and see what happens.
Why do the manager's job when he can get yelled on here for free? Bluebells are blue with a donation of £10. Thank you so much. Let's see what you can do before condemning the lad. Not my choice, but he's the manager. Batting him from the outset helps no one. Now let's see what players he gets to work with. It's pretty much where I am. Everybody knows he wasn't my choice. My choice means absolutely nothing. Just my opinion. A lot of people, I think, says the same, but we may as well roll with it and see how it goes. Jim has donated $1.99 to the channel as well. Thank you, Jim. These aren't necessary, but we appreciate it. Thank you. It's a question here I'm going to bring up because I thought it was interesting. And here's the honest answer. Stevie, Kenny, Andrew, what happens if Rangers crash out of Europe, qualify, or the European qualifiers, then get beat in the first game? Mark, the exact same that would happen to any other manager that came in. Doesn't matter if it's Pep Guardiola. Doesn't matter if it's Russell Martin. Didn't matter if it's David Ancelotti. It's the same pressure, no matter who it is. You've talked about Gareth Southgate for a long time. Gareth Southgate isn't coming to Rangers. I said it in day one when you mentioned it. He's on hundreds of thousands of pounds, would be able to command a week for a job in English Premiership, a top-level job. He's not coming to Scotland. We are not even the champions of Scotland to be able to attract the biggest named managers. And that's probably where we have to realise where we are. So it was either going to be somebody like David Ancelotti, who's an up-and-coming head coach, who's going to come in or it was going to be somebody that had a philosophy type like Russell Martin, where the board and the director of football and Kevin Thelwell believe in him, and that's their choice, and that's it. So what happens if Rangers crash out Europe early, etc.? The same thing, no matter who or what manager comes in. So on that, Kenny, if the percentage of fans and the media reaction is correct, he's coming into a job where he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing in the first place. But at the same time, all he can do then is win and surprise people, because if the negativity is correct around him, then he's nothing to lose at all, and he's already shown balls by doing this. Because a lot of people would have just said, "No, I'm up against it straight away. Am I going to get given time? I won't be given time by the supporters." But he's already shown that by taking this job, and he's just he must mentally back himself massively to be able to do that.
He must do, and there's plenty of managers like that, to be fair, that just have total belief in what they do, and he is clearly one of them, because it's all right, people, saying that he knows the club. He was here for 6 months, and to be perfectly frank, if you look back on it, he wilted right under that pressure. It was an unmitigated disaster. So if nothing else, he knows the pressure he's going to be under. And for me, what he has to do is start well, because it's okay saying that he's under the same pressure as any other manager, and he is. However, he is starting behind that 8 ball. He is, because he's not a particularly well received new appointment at all. All you need to do is look at the comments. I've had a quick flick through those comments tonight, and wow, there's a lot of anger about, and Rangers better be prepared for that, actually, because I've not seen anything like this over the last 24, 48 hours now, that it is just absolute seethe everywhere. People are not happy. So that is... I'll make a quick point of somebody saying that, you're saying people are saying we're happy clappers. They obviously never watched us two miserable gits last night, Stevie, because we were miserable last night, and we crucified everybody concerned last night. So I don't really know what else to say. All I can say about the whole thing is it looks, quite frankly, that the board are putting themselves under pressure. The owners are putting themselves under pressure. They must have total belief in what they're about to do. And that belief must be because they see a long-term plan and not a short-term fix at all here. This is long-term stuff.
Yeah, it is. I think that's us. I think we're there now. There's not much more we can say on this matter. Russell Martin will be confirmed, barring any major last-minute hitches now being reported by every news out there, including Sky Sports. Fabrizio Romano broke it yesterday, and I'm pretty sure he's tweeted already saying he's confirmed that it's done. So Russell Martin is here. He will be the next Rangers manager. We will have more coverage of this in the coming days. Podcast is never far away. Thank you to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Cliveview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, who have all will be sticking with us next year and supporting us, and we thank every one of them from that. Jim, Mando, Carlo, Ian, all the team. We thank every single one of them, and to our partners as well, Black Rooster and Art of Gold. We appreciate it very much. Lee, Kenny, Andrew, Kenny, first of all, a difficult subject perhaps, given how you feel about it, but thank you for joining us, and just sum up your thoughts and feelings as we close the show.
Well, he's here now, Stevie. There's nothing that you can do about this if he's here, whether people are angry or pissed off or whatever way you want to be in terms of a negative kind of feeling about this. You're going to have to get over it, and whether you like it or not, we're all going to have to accept it and give the guy our full support until until whenever. I mean, that's the issue.
10 minutes into the first friendly before everybody overreacts.
Issue, Stevie. this is the issue that I'm afraid that Andrew Kavanagh, Parag Marathi and Kevin Thelwell might not have experienced anything like our fan base at all. They are not aware of how we can kick off, put it that way, and we can. And that's where we're going to have to show a little bit of a patience, I'm afraid.
Andrew, your closing feelings?
My statement. Listen, we can all be honest. He wasn't my first choice, but then I don't know the first thing about football management or running a football team either, beyond what I've done in Football Manager and FIFA. So my expertise is not to be taken in any way seriously. Like, all we can do is judge on what we can see. We've not sat in the interview. We don't know. He's here now, as Kenny says. He's going to have my support until he does something to not have it. So that'll be, 2-3 minutes into the first game. What I will say is that I cannot believe the sheer number of people who have tuned in to watch us. 12,000 people now, which is ridiculous. But I know Stevie's going to do this anyway, so I don't want to step on any of his chips. I just want to say that hopefully Russell Martin has us looking more like this, less like this, and certainly not like this. We just hope that we're all smiling at the end of his first few games in charge.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. A ridiculous number have been supporting us recently. We really appreciate that. Thank you to all our YouTube members as well for tuning in. All the donations to the show, we really, really appreciate it. It helps us grow, and we hope that you'll continue to tune in. All I've got to say on the matter is Russell Martin wasn't my first choice. I don't think he was my second either. But he's here now. We're going to get behind him, and we're going to do our best to see what it brings. New signings are an absolute priority, and that has to happen really, really quickly. And the recruitment will be what makes or breaks this, and that has to happen quick fire. Not long till we're back. And yeah, it is what it is. We're just going to have to accept it and get on with it, and we'll look forward to it. Should be more news from the club in the coming days. We'll be back. We'll report on that. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been fun, and I'm sure it will continue to be fun in the coming weeks. Have a great night, everybody. All the best. Have a good day tomorrow, and take care. Thank you.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.